The line at Liberty Brew stretched nearly 20 feet out the door, even though it was barely 7 a.m. Chicago wind whipped through the city. And the big green coffee cup logo glowed like a beacon against the gray sky. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of espresso, caramel syrup, and a hint of frustration. Baristas hustled behind the counter, steam hissing, blenders roaring, and the registers beep echoing every few seconds. But beneath the surface, something was off. A tension you could feel as soon as you stepped in. Amanda Lee stood at the end of the line, hands shoved in the pockets of her faded jeans. She wore a baggy Liberty Brew hoodie. Her brown hair tucked under a baseball cap, and thick black glasses that hid her sharp, watchful eyes. Nobody recognized her as the CEO who'd built this chain from a single shop into a national phenomenon. To everyone here, she was just Amy, the new hire. Starting her first shift in the flagship store. Amanda had always believed in the power of coffee to bring people together. She'd started as a barista herself, pulling shots and wiping tables, listening to customers share their stories. But lately, Liberty Brew had been making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Social media was full of angry posts, complaints about rude staff, rumors of tip theft, stories of homeless customers being kicked out, and whispers that the family atmosphere was gone. Amanda had read every single comment. She knew something had to change. But she needed to see it for herself. Her first impression was a punch to the gut. The floor was sticky under her sneakers, tables were cluttered with empty cups, and the trash can overflowed with crumpled napkins. The staff looked exhausted, their faces set in hard lines. Jake, a tall barista with a sleeve of tattoos and a perpetual scowl, barked orders at the line. Next! Let's move it, people! Amanda stepped up, keeping her voice low. Iced latte, half sweet, please. Jake didn't look up. Name? Amy. He scribbled it on a cup and shoved it down the line. It'll be a few. As Amanda waited, she watched Brittany, a blonde barista with perfect eyeliner and a sharp tongue, roll her eyes at an older woman who asked for extra cream. We're not a diner, ma'am, Brittany said, her voice dripping with sarcasm. The woman blushed and shuffled away. Amanda's stomach twisted. She remembered her own mom getting flustered at coffee shops, and she felt a flash of anger. Was this really what Liberty Brew had become? Her turn came fast. Jake handed over her drink without a word. Amanda took a sip, too sweet, but she forced a smile. Thanks. He just shrugged and moved on. The manager, a wiry guy named Chris, handed Amanda an apron. You're on lobby duty. Wipe tables, restock napkins, and keep the floor clean. And if anyone gives you trouble, let me know. Amanda nodded, tying on the apron. She made her way through the crowded cafe, picking up trash and wiping down sticky surfaces. She listened as Brittany and Jake bantered behind the counter. Did you see that guy in the corner? Brittany whispered, nodding toward a man in worn boots and a threadbare jacket. He's been nursing that coffee for an hour. Probably just here for the heat. Jake snorted. Should have told him to take a hike. We don't need his kind scaring off the real customers. Amanda's jaw clenched. She glanced at the man. He looked tired, his hands trembling as he sipped his drink. She slipped him a fresh napkin and a quiet smile. Let me know if you need anything, she said softly. He nodded, surprised. Thank you, miss. A few minutes later, Sam, a soft-spoken barista with thick glasses and a nervous smile, brought over a fresh cup of coffee for the same man. On the house, Sam whispered. Just don't tell anyone. Amanda watched as Jake shot Sam a glare. You trying to get us all in trouble? Sam shook his head. Just being decent. Jake rolled his eyes. Decent doesn't pay the bills. Amanda kept moving. But her mind was racing. She saw Lily, the newest hire, struggling with the espresso machine. Brittany leaned over and hissed. You're slowing us down. Maybe this job isn't for you. Lily's hand shook as she tried again, nearly spilling a cup. Amanda stepped in, steadying the machine. "You'll get it," she said quietly. "Everyone starts somewhere." Lily looked up, relief in her eyes. "Thanks, Amy." The rush never stopped. By noon, the line was out the door again. Amanda wiped sweat from her brow, her feet aching. She watched as Jake pocketed a few bills from the tip jar when he thought no one was looking. Brittany laughed with a group of well-dressed customers, ignoring a young mother juggling 2 kids and a stroller. Sam, meanwhile, kept helping where he could, refilling water, offering a cookie to a crying toddler, and cleaning up spills without complaint. Amanda saw the way Jake and Brittany rolled their eyes every time Sam did something kind. During her break, Amanda sat with Sam in the cramped staff room. "Does it always feel like this?" she asked. Sam sighed. "It's gotten worse. Used to be, everyone helped each other out. Now, it's every man for himself. If you're not fast or flashy, you're out. And don't even think about helping the wrong kind of customer." Amanda nodded, taking mental notes. "What about the tips?" Sam hesitated. "Jake and Brittany split most of them. If you say anything, they'll make your life hell." Amanda's heart pounded. She knew she needed proof, but she also knew she couldn't let this go on. That afternoon, a homeless woman came in, her coat patched and her shoes worn thin. She asked quietly for a cup of hot water. Jake sneered. "You need to buy something, lady." Sam stepped in. "I'll cover it," he said, pulling $1 from his pocket. Jake glared. "You're too soft, Sam. That's why you'll never get ahead." Amanda watched Lily, torn between helping and staying silent. She saw the fear in the girl's eyes, the fear of being the next target. By the end of her shift, Amanda was exhausted. Her back ached, her hands were raw from scrubbing tables, and her mind was spinning with everything she'd seen. She slipped out the back door, pulling out her phone and jotting down notes. She knew she'd only scratched the surface. As she walked the 3 blocks to her car, Amanda looked back at the glowing green sign of Liberty Brew. She'd built this place on the idea that coffee could change lives. Now, she wondered if it was too late to save it. But she wasn't giving up. Not yet. Tomorrow, she'd come back. She'd watch, she'd listen, and she'd find out just how deep the route went. Because if there was one thing Amanda Lee knew, it was that the truth always comes out, and when it did, Liberty Brew would never be the same. The next morning, Amanda Lee woke before dawn. The city still wrapped in a cool 52 degrees Fahrenheit hush. She grabbed her Liberty Brew apron, tied her hair back, and slipped out the door with a sense of purpose pulsing in her chest. Yesterday had been an eye-opener. She'd seen enough to know something was rotten at the heart of her beloved coffee chain. But she also knew she'd only scratched the surface. By 6:15 a.m., the flagship store was already buzzing. The neon green cup glowed in the window, and the line was snaking out the door. Amanda clocked in, blending seamlessly into the morning rush. Jake was already barking orders behind the counter, Brittany was fixing her lipstick in the reflection of the espresso machine, and Sam was quietly prepping the pastry case, eyes down, shoulders tense. Amanda started her shift on lobby duty again, wiping down tables and refilling napkin dispensers. She made a point to greet every customer with a smile. But she noticed how quickly the energy shifted depending on who was working the floor. Jake and Brittany laughed with the regulars in business suits, calling them by name, while barely glancing at the construction workers or the tired parents with kids in tow. When a young woman in scrubs asked for an extra shot in her coffee, Jake rolled his eyes and muttered, "Some people just can't get enough." Amanda caught Lily, the newest barista, hesitating by the espresso machine. Her hands shook as she tried to steam milk, and Brittany leaned in, voice low and sharp. "You're going to burn it again, aren't you? Maybe you should just stick to mopping floors." Lily's cheeks flushed red. Amanda stepped in, offering a gentle, "You've got this, Lily. Just watch the temperature, it should hit about 150 degrees Fahrenheit, not a degree higher. Lily managed a grateful smile, but Amanda could see the doubt lingering in her eyes. The morning wore on, and Amanda started to notice a pattern. Jake and Brittany took every opportunity to serve the VIP customers, those who tipped big, wore expensive watches, or flashed platinum credit cards. They'd cut in front of others, offer free pastry upgrades, and chat about weekend plans. But when an older man in a faded army jacket came in, Jake barely looked up. "Bathrooms for paying customers only," he snapped, even though the man was holding a receipt. Amanda's stomach twisted. This wasn't the Liberty Brew she'd built. It was favoritism, plain and simple. Mid-morning, a woman came in with a stroller and a toddler clinging to her leg. She fumbled for her wallet, clearly flustered. Brittany sighed loudly. "We have a line, ma'am." The woman's face fell. Sam, watching from the pastry case, quietly rang up her order and slipped a cookie into the bag. "On the house," he whispered, winking at the toddler. Amanda caught the exchange and felt a surge of pride for Sam and a flash of anger at Brittany. Later, during a lull, Amanda overheard Jake and Brittany whispering near the back room. "Sam's too soft," Jake grumbled. "Always giving stuff away. If he keeps it up, he's gone. We need people who know how to keep the money flowing, not hand it out to every sob story." Brittany nodded, glancing at Lily. "And that new girl? She's not going to last. I say we make her shifts miserable until she quits." Amanda's jaw clenched. She pulled out her phone, quietly recording the conversation. She'd suspected bullying, but hearing it confirmed was something else entirely. By noon, the tip jar was overflowing. Amanda watched as Jake counted the tips, slipping a few bills into his apron pocket when he thought nobody was looking. Brittany distracted the others with a story about her weekend in Miami, her laughter echoing across the cafe. Amanda made a mental note. She'd check the security footage later. During her lunch break, Amanda sat outside with Sam. He looked tired, with dark circles under his eyes. "You ever feel like you're fighting a losing battle?" he asked. Amanda nodded. "Sometimes. But I think it's worth fighting for." Sam smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "I just want people to feel welcome, you know? Like this is a place they belong." Amanda squeezed his shoulder. "You're making a difference, even if it doesn't always feel like it." The afternoon brought another test. A homeless man entered, shivering in a threadbare coat. He approached the counter, voice barely above a whisper. "Could I get a cup of hot water, please?" Jake sneered. "You need to buy something, man. We're not a soup kitchen." Sam stepped in. "I'll cover it," he said, pulling $1 from his wallet. Jake glared. But Amanda noticed Lily watching the exchange, her face conflicted. After the man left, Jake cornered Sam in the back. "You keep pulling that crap, you'll be out of here. We don't need charity cases dragging us down." Amanda had heard enough. She spent the rest of her shift quietly observing, noting every slight, every insult. Every time Jake or Brittany manipulated the tip jar or cut corners on customer service. At closing, Amanda stayed late, helping Lily mop the floors. "You did great today," she said. "Don't let them get to you." Lily looked up, tears brimming in her eyes. "I just want to do a good job. But they make me feel so small." Amanda knelt beside her. "You're stronger than you think. And you're not alone." That night, Amanda reviewed the security footage, her heart pounding as she watched Jake and Brittany pocket tips, mock customers, and belittle their coworkers. She compiled her notes, audio recordings, and video clips into a folder. She knew she was building a case not just against two toxic employees, but against a culture that had lost its way. As she shut down her laptop, Amanda stared at the Liberty Brew logo on her mug. She thought about all the people who'd walked through those doors, students, parents, workers, wanderers. Each one deserving of kindness and respect. Tomorrow, she would dig even deeper. She'd talk to more customers, check the books, and confront the ugly truth. because Liberty Brew was more than a brand. It was a promise. And Amanda Lee was ready to fight for it, no matter what it took. Amanda Lee arrived at Liberty Brew before sunrise, her breath fogging in the 46 degrees Fahrenheit morning air. The city was still asleep, but the flagship store was already alive with the familiar sounds of grinders, the hiss of steam, and the low murmur of early risers desperate for caffeine. She paused at the door, heart pounding, knowing today would be different. She'd spent the last 2 days quietly observing, gathering evidence, and watching the cracks in her company's foundation widen. Now, she was ready to dig deeper, and what she'd find would change everything. Inside, Jake was already behind the counter, his tattooed arms flashing as he worked the espresso machine. Brittany was at the pastry case, laughing a little too loudly with a group of regulars in suits. Sam was quietly prepping the milk fridge, and Lily was restocking the sugar packets, her shoulders hunched as if she was trying to disappear. Amanda tied on her apron and slipped into the flow, but her mind was elsewhere. She had her phone ready, tucked into her pocket, set to record. She knew she needed more than just her word if she was going to fix this mess. The first customer of the day was an elderly woman, maybe 70, bundled up in a thick coat. She ordered a small black coffee. Jake barely glanced at her, slamming the cup on the counter so hard it sloshed over the rim. "Next!" he barked. The woman flinched, but said nothing. Amanda stepped in, offering her a napkin and a gentle smile. "Let me know if you need anything else, ma'am." The woman's eyes softened. "Thank you, dear." Not everyone's so kind these days. Amanda's heart ached. She watched as Jake and Brittany continued their routine, warm, friendly, even flirtatious with the right customers, but cold and dismissive to anyone who didn't fit their mold. She saw Brittany pocket a $5 bill from the tip jar when she thought no one was looking. She saw Jake, accidentally, void a transaction and slip the cash into his apron. During the lull, Amanda caught Sam in the back room, his hands shaking as he counted out change. "You okay?" she asked. Sam hesitated, then nodded. "It's just hard. I want to help people, but every time I do, Jake or Brittany makes me pay for it. They say I'm too soft, that I'm costing everyone money." Amanda leaned in, lowering her voice. "You're not the problem, Sam. They are." He looked at her, hope flickering in his eyes. "You really think so?" "I know so," Amanda said, her voice steady. "Just hang in there." Back on the floor, Amanda watched Lily struggle with a complicated order. Brittany rolled her eyes and muttered, "Hopeless." Amanda stepped in, guiding Lily through the steps. "You're doing great. Just take it one cup at a time." Lily managed a shaky smile. "Thanks, Amy. I'm trying." The day wore on, and Amanda kept her phone recording. She caught snippets of Jake and Brittany plotting in the storeroom. "If we get rid of Sam, we can split his shifts," Jake whispered. "And the new girl? She'll quit by the end of the week if we keep this up." Brittany laughed. "Easy money." Amanda's stomach turned. She knew she had enough now, but she wanted to hear from the customers too. During her break, she sat with a group of regulars by the window. "How long have you been coming here?" she asked. One man, a truck driver named Bill, shrugged. "Used to come every morning." "But lately?" "Staff's rude unless you tip big. I've seen them kick out people who just want to warm up. Not what it used to be." A woman in scrubs chimed in. "I come after night shifts. Sometimes I feel invisible. Sam's the only one who remembers my name." Amanda thanked them, her resolve hardening. She spent the rest of her shift helping Sam, encouraging Lily, and quietly documenting every slight, every insult, every dollar that went missing. At closing, Amanda stayed late, reviewing the security footage with Chris, the manager. They watched as Jake and Brittany pocketed tips, manipulated the register, and mocked customers. Chris's face went pale. "I had no idea it was this bad." Amanda nodded. "It's not your fault. But it's on us to fix it." She left the store that night with a folder full of evidence and a plan forming in her mind. She knew tomorrow would be the day she revealed everything. But she'd also seen the best: Sam's kindness, Lily's determination, the customers who still believed in the promise of community. She realized that leadership wasn't about giving orders from behind a desk. It was about standing up, even when it was uncomfortable. It was about protecting the people who made Liberty Brew what it was supposed to be. That night, Amanda wrote out her plan. She'd call an all-staff meeting. She'd reveal her true identity. She'd show the footage, play the recordings, and confront Jake and Brittany in front of everyone. She'd reward Sam and Lily for their integrity. And she'd promise the team that things would change for real this time. As she drifted off to sleep, Amanda felt something she hadn't felt in months: hope. Because sometimes you have to go undercover to find the truth. And sometimes you have to hit rock bottom before you can build something better. Tomorrow, Liberty Brew would get a fresh start. And Amanda Lee would make sure of it. The morning Amanda Lee called the staff meeting, the air outside Liberty Brew was sharp, just 42 degrees Fahrenheit, but inside, a different kind of chill lingered. The flagship store was quieter than usual. The regulars sensed something was brewing, and even the espresso machines seemed to hiss with anticipation. Amanda stood in the back office, her heart pounding, a folder of evidence clutched in her hand. She'd spent the past week undercover, gathering proof, listening, watching, and now, it was time for the truth. She called everyone together just after the morning rush. Jake and Brittany sauntered in, arms crossed, eyes rolling. Sam and Lily sat side by side, both looking nervous but hopeful. Chris, the manager, hovered by the door, uncertain. Amanda waited until the last barista arrived, then stepped forward, her voice steady but full of emotion. "Thank you for coming in early," she began, scanning the faces she'd come to know so well. "Before we open today, I have something important to share." She paused, letting the silence settle. "Some of you know me as Amy, the new barista. But my real name is Amanda Lee. I'm the founder and CEO of Liberty Brew." A gasp rippled through the room. Jake's jaw dropped. Brittany's eyes widened in disbelief. Sam's mouth fell open, and Lily's hands flew to her mouth. Amanda continued, "I went undercover because I needed to see for myself what Liberty Brew had become. I wanted to understand the good, the bad, and the ugly. And what I found, well, it broke my heart." She opened the folder and began laying out her evidence: audio clips of Jake and Brittany mocking customers and plotting against Sam, security footage of tip theft, and a list of customer complaints that matched her own observations. Jake tried to bluster. "This is out of context, Dash." Amanda cut him off. "I watched you pocket tips." "Jake, I heard you threaten Sam. I saw you treat customers with disrespect, especially those who needed kindness the most. That's not what Liberty Brew stands for." Brittany's face flushed. "Everyone does it, Dash." Amanda shook her head. "No, Brittany. Not everyone. Sam and Lily showed me what real customer service looks like. They treated every person who walked through that door with dignity, no matter what they looked like or how much they tipped. That's the Liberty Brew I built. That's the family I want." She turned to the rest of the staff. "I know some of you felt powerless. Maybe you thought no one was watching, or that nothing would ever change. But I see you. I see how hard you work, how much you care. And I promise you, starting today, things are going to be different." Amanda took a deep breath, her eyes shining. "Jake and Brittany, you're both suspended pending a full investigation. Chris, you'll be retrained on management and workplace ethics. Sam, you're promoted to lead barista. Lily, you're getting a mentor and a raise for your resilience and kindness." The room was silent for a moment, then Sam let out a shaky breath. "Thank you, Amanda. I just wanted this place to feel like home again." Lily wiped away tears. "I almost quit. But you made me believe it could get better." Amanda nodded, her own voice thick. It will. Because we're going to make it better together. She outlined her new plan. Coffee for all. Any customer in need could get a free cup, no questions asked. Tip transparency. All tips would be pooled and split fairly, with a public tally. Zero tolerance. Any discrimination or bullying would result in immediate suspension. Community days once a week. Liberty Brew would host events for local families, seniors, and those in need. Amanda looked around the room, her gaze fierce. This isn't just about coffee. It's about community. It's about making sure everyone, customers and staff, feels safe, respected, and valued. Chris stepped forward, his voice humble. Amanda, I'm sorry. I should have seen it. I'll do better. Amanda smiled. We all will. As the staff dispersed, the energy in the store shifted. Sam and Lily hugged, relief and pride etched on their faces. Jake and Brittany left in silence, their bravado gone. Chris started posting new signs about the Coffee for All program, and customers coming in that morning sensed something new in the air. Amanda spent the rest of the day working the floor, pouring coffee, listening to customers, and checking in with her team. She watched as Sam trained Lily on the espresso machine, their laughter ringing out above the hum of the shop. She saw a regular in a worn jacket get a free refill and a smile. She heard a little girl giggle as she decorated a Community Day poster. By closing time, Amanda was exhausted, but for the first time in months, she felt hopeful. She gathered the staff for a quick huddle. Today was a turning point, she said, her voice quiet but strong. We faced the truth, and we chose to do better. That's what matters. That's what makes us Liberty Brew. As the sun set over the city, Amanda locked up the shop and stepped outside. She looked up at the glowing green cup, her heart full. She knew there would be more challenges ahead, more hard days, more tough conversations. But she also knew she wasn't alone. Liberty Brew had been shaken, but it wasn't broken. With a new sense of purpose, Amanda was ready to lead her team and her company into a future built on kindness, courage, and the belief that everyone deserves a place at the table. And somewhere, in 100 other Liberty Brew stores across the country, baristas poured coffee with a little more care. Customers lingered a little longer, and the promise of coffee for all felt real again. The sun was barely up, but Liberty Brew's flagship store was already alive with a new kind of energy. The air inside was warm, about 70 degrees Fahrenheit, a welcome contrast to the cool, gray morning outside. But the real warmth came from something else, a sense that, for the first time in a long while, things were about to change for the better. Amanda Lee stood at the front counter, no longer undercover, but not in her CO blazer either. She wore the same faded Liberty Brew hoodie and jeans she'd worn all week, blending in with her team. The difference was in her eyes, clear, determined, and a little softer than before. She'd spent the last few days exposing the truth, confronting the rot at the heart of her own company, and now it was time to rebuild. The first order of business was the Coffee for All program. Amanda had announced it the day before, and now a bright sign hung above the register. Need a cup? Just ask. No questions. Sam, promoted to lead barista, was the first to serve a free cup to a woman in scrubs, her hands shaking after a long night shift. On the house, he said with a smile. The woman's eyes filled with gratitude. Thank you. I needed this more than you know. Lily, no longer the timid new hire, worked the espresso machine with confidence. She greeted every customer with a smile, her voice steady as she called out orders. Amanda watched as Lily trained a new barista, showing her how to steam milk to exactly 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Take your time, Lily said. We care more about people than speed. The change in atmosphere was palpable. Regulars noticed it first. Bill, the truck driver, lingered over his coffee, chatting with Sam about the best routes out of the city. The young mom with 2 kids got a free cookie for her toddler and a warm welcome. Even the older man in the army jacket smiled as he sipped his coffee, no longer feeling invisible. Amanda made a point to check in with every team member. She found Chris, the manager, restocking the pastry case. "How's it going?" she asked. Chris looked up, a little sheepish. "Honestly? It feels like a different place. People are happier. The staff are working together. I should have seen the problems sooner, but I'm glad you did." Amanda nodded. "We're all learning. That's what matters." She gathered the team for a quick huddle before the afternoon rush. "I know it's been a tough week," she began, her voice carrying through the store. "But I'm proud of every one of you. We faced the truth, and we chose to do better. That's what makes this place special." Sam spoke up, his voice stronger than before. "I used to think I was the only one who cared. Now I know I'm not alone." Lily nodded. "I almost quit. But now I feel like I belong." Amanda smiled, feeling a surge of pride. "That's the Liberty Brew I always dreamed of." The ripple effect was immediate. Word spread on social media about the changes. Customers posted photos of the "Coffee for All" sign, sharing stories of kindness and second chances. Donations poured in, blankets for the homeless, gift cards for families in need. Even a new espresso machine from a local business owner who'd been inspired by Amanda's story. Other Liberty Brew locations started to follow suit. Amanda traveled to stores across the country, sharing her experience, listening to staff, and encouraging every manager to adopt the new policies. She made sure every employee received training on empathy, inclusion, and the true meaning of customer service. The impact went beyond the company. Local news picked up the story, running a segment called "The Coffee Shop That Changed Everything." Amanda gave interviews, always shifting the spotlight to her team. "It's not about me," she told one reporter. "It's about what happens when people choose kindness over convenience, respect over routine." One afternoon, Amanda returned to the flagship store to find Sam organizing a community board near the entrance. Customers pinned up notes, offers for free rides, job leads, even homemade cookies for anyone having a rough day. The board became a hub for connection, a symbol of the new Liberty Brew. Amanda sat with Lily during a break, sipping coffee and watching the bustle of the store. "You've come a long way," she said. Lily grinned. "I had good teachers." Amanda laughed. "We all did. Sometimes the best lessons come from the hardest days." The staff celebrated small victories, an elderly customer who returned after months away, a local teacher who brought her class for a field trip, and a group of teens who started a study group in the corner booth. Every story was a reminder that change was possible, that one act of courage could ripple out and touch countless lives. But Amanda knew the work wasn't done. She made it a point to walk the floor every day, to listen, to encourage, to step in when needed. She reminded her team that leadership wasn't about titles, it was about action, about lifting others up, about never forgetting the promise that started it all. As the sun set over the city, Amanda stood at the door, holding it open for a family heading out into the cool evening. She looked around at Sam laughing with a customer, at Lily teaching a new hire, at Chris chatting with a regular, and felt a deep sense of peace. Liberty Brew was more than a coffee shop. It was a community, a family, a place where everyone belonged. Amanda turned off the lights, locked the door, and stepped out into the night. She knew there would be challenges ahead, setbacks, and hard days. But she also knew that, together, they could face anything. Because in the end, the real secret wasn't about coffee or profits or even customer service. It was about people. About kindness. About the courage to do what's right, even when no one's watching. And that's a legacy worth fighting for. If you believe in second chances, in community, in the power of kindness, share your story in the comments.